What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to week 3 of the waiver wire pickups. Hopefully, you watched our video last week. We had a few guys on there that absolutely crushed it for week 2, and this week we are here again to help you out because we know that there was a lot of injuries, such as Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and the list goes on. Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, huge names getting injured, and I'm here to tell you who to pick up. Of course, if you want to hear more names, catch us on our live show tonight. Yes, I said we will be live tonight for a live Q&A for fantasy football. Check us out. We answer every single question, no matter what. As always, we start off with quarterbacks, so let's get right into it. Number one with quarterbacks, we can't put Baker Mayfield on there because he's owned in over 70% of leagues now. I'm going to talk about Geno Smith. So what we saw last week, Kenneth Walker was not playing. So the Seahawks kind of turned into a pass-heavy team. So Geno Smith, if I'm not mistaken, he threw 44 passes, which you got to score big-time money right there. So Geno Smith, I think he's a great option to stream. He's owned in 29% of leagues. He's averaging 18 points so far, and he's going up against Miami, a beat-up team who really I don't know what they're fighting for anymore. Up next, we got Derek Carr. This guy crushed it week 1. He crushed it week 2. Now, I hate to say that he's going to crush it week 3, but I mean, you got to play the heavy hand, right? So they're going up against Philadelphia. I know they have a tough defense. I'm recording this right before the Monday Night Football game, so I'm not too sure what their defense looks like after week 2, but I could bet my top dollar that Derek Carr is going to be productive for fantasy football like he was week 1, week 2. Up next, let's hit up some running backs. Like I said, if you want more options, check out our live stream tonight. Yes, we'll be live tonight again. So running backs are up next. Kind of the obvious hand here. I want to talk about Zach Charbonnet. He may be available for you guys in your shallow leagues. He's owned in 74% of leagues, so he's probably not available. But if he is there, you need to go pick him up. There's no business for him to be available. With Kenneth Walker out, this guy had 14 rush attempts and 5 targets. Go pick him up. He's going to be the bell cow of that backfield if Kenneth Walker is not available. Up next, let's talk about Carson Steele. Now, I hate when players get injured. Isaiah Pacheco is looking like he's going to miss a lot of time. Carson Steele does look like he's the guy to fill in that spot for Isaiah Pacheco. He only had, 7 rushing attempts. Didn't do much with it, but it looks like he will be the first and second down back. I don't expect him to get a lot of pass catching in that backfield. I think that's going to be Samaje Perine, or maybe they mix in Xavier Worthy. But Carson Steele should have a heavy workload for that offense. Up next, I'm probably going to butcher the name, but Braylon Allen from the New York Jets. Now, this guy is not a guy that you could plug and play, right? He's not a guy where you pick up off the waiver wire and you start him immediately. This guy is the type of guy where you can start only when Breece Hall, if and hopefully not, Breece Hall gets injured. But he has a heavy workload in that offense, having 7 rushing attempts and 4 targets. He's dipping into that cheese that Breece Hall is getting into. And I don't know if fantasy owners are liking that very much, but this guy has a lot of potential, especially if you're in a dynasty league. This could be someone to look forward to. Up next, let's hit up some wide receivers. I talked about this guy last week. I'm going to talk about him again. So hopefully you listened last week and you picked him up. So let's talk about Rashid Shaheed. He's owned in 57% of rosters. He's averaging 16 points. Last week, he got 4 targets. Week 1, he got 5. He still looks like he have a heavy workload in that offense. Chris Olave seems to be back, but let's think about it. New Orleans looks like I really don't believe they're going to be blowing out every single team that they're going to be playing up against. So I think the passing volume will go up, which means more potential targets for Rashid Shaheed. Up next, let's talk about the big Q, Quentin Johnston. He's owning 16% of leagues now. Don't feel too comfortable talking about this guy, but he did get 6 targets last game, and it looks like he will have a workload in this offense as well. I originally thought Ladd might be the guy that's the go-to, but Quentin Johnston just seems to get it done. He had 2 touchdowns. Like, are you kidding me? This guy, he's out there. He's available. Great for depth. Pick him up. Up next, I'm going to butcher this name again, but Andre Yoshivas. I believe that's how you say it. Yoshi. People were calling him Yoshi all game long. Cincinnati Bengals, young guy. He's owned in 16% of leagues. Now, if we continue to see poor play by Jamar Chase, which I really think it's because of the whole contract deal, and we continue to see T. Higgins out for these games, Yoshi might be able to see some good playing time for the Cincinnati Bengals and get some targets out there. He only had 4 targets last week, but out of those 4 targets, he did find the end zone 2 times. So if this trend continues to go upward, where he's the guy who's really trying out there in the field, he might be good to stash. Now, again, this is just good for depth. Stash him up just in case he pops up. Up next, let's talk about the position that everyone is worried about. Let's talk about tight ends, right? Tight ends are scarce in this league, and they're not as quite as productive as years past because before we had Mark Andrews and Travis Kelsey, Sam Laporta last year, who absolutely crushed it. This year's a little different. So I want to start off with Mike Gesicki, again, going back with Cincinnati. Now, this guy, he had 9 targets last week. Now, it could be because there's no T. Higgins. There could be because Jamar Chase ain't playing that well, but you can't ignore the 9 targets that were aimed his way. So in this pass-heavy offense, I do feel like the Cincinnati Bengals will continue to struggle offensively, having them to pass the ball a lot more. Now, the only thing I don't like about this pick is that he is in a 3 tight end rotation. Yes, a 3 tight end rotation is not ideal, but this guy gets almost 50% of the snaps compared to the other tight ends. So Mike Gesicki, he's out there, he's available, rostered in 10% of leagues. Go check him out. Up next is a guy that kind of surprised us all, right? Let's talk about Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry from the New England Patriots, bottom 5 offense, which I projected them out to be, but he had 12 targets last week against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, 12 targets is a lot. 12 targets for a tight end is crazy, right? But again, he didn't see that type of volume week 1 because they're blowing out the Bengals. There's really no need for them to pass the ball that many times. Now, going forward, I do feel like the Patriots will end up struggling during the season, having them to pass the ball a little more. So Hunter Henry could be ideal for your team. 12 targets week 2, sign me up. Okay, so that's all I got as far as players. Again, if you stream defenses like me, these are the defenses I like a lot this week. We're going Buccaneers against Broncos, Seahawks against Dolphins, Panthers against Raiders, and Bears against Colts. If those teams are available, pick them up. Those are easy 10 points that you could have and help you win your fantasy football matchup. But that's all I got for today. As always, we are going live Tuesday night, as I said plenty of times before in this video. So catch us live, ask us whatever you want to ask. We answer every single question, no matter what. The link is down in the description below to join our Discord. You can ask us questions there. If you catch us a little bit late, we answer all the questions on our Discord as well. Until next time, keep on grinding.